Hello, darlings. Welcome to Z-Star Africa, your home of sizzling drama updates. This week on Soulmates, secrets are exposed and lives are turned upside down. Savitri's buried past finally comes to light, while Renuka takes a devastating hit from karma as she loses her voice. And just when you think things can't get any more intense, Roshni's lies come crumbling down right before her eyes. This week came explosive, and you don't want to miss a single twist. Like and turn on your notifications so you never miss any updates. Let's dive in. October 1st, 2025. The episode starts with Sachin trying to solve a puzzle, using the poetic clues shared earlier by the old man. Sachin, Akash, and Tejas continue their search for the secret location of the hidden treasure. Suddenly, their grandmother Savitri arrives and questions what they're doing outside the house. It seems Savitri may know something about the treasure, but she clearly doesn't want them to find it. The brothers decide to keep their mission a secret, fearing that revealing the truth would shock her. Later, Sachin and Akash agree not to share anything with Savitri, believing it's best to protect her from the truth. That night, the group sets off again, following the poetic clues in hopes of locating the treasure. Savitri senses that something secretive is going on without her permission. Frustrated and suspicious, she warns them to stop and threatens to send them back home if they continue disobeying her. In the middle of the night, Savitri sneaks into the garden, seemingly to hide something underground. Sensing her odd behavior, Sachin, Sayali, Akash, and Riya follow her and witness her digging in the garden. Once Savitri returns to the house, the group quickly starts digging in the same spot, curious about what she might have hidden. Later, Tejas discovers that Akash and Sachin are also on the treasure hunt, which leads to a heated argument between Tejas and Sachin over not being transparent with each other. Eventually, Savitri realizes her grandchildren are all involved in the search. Hurt and upset, she scolds them and orders them back inside. However, once alone in her room, Savitri smiles, revealing that she knew about the treasure all along but chose to keep it a secret. Sayali and Riya feel guilty for going against Savitri's wishes. Wanting to make amends, they decide to clean her room and prepare a special meal for her. During cleaning, Riya stumbles upon an old, tattered book with a mysterious symbol inside. Sachin and Tejas also recognize the symbol, realizing it might point to the treasure's location. Without wasting time, Sachin runs toward the marked spot, with everyone following closely. Once they arrive, the group of 6 starts digging the soil. After a few minutes, Sachin uncovers something mysterious buried beneath the earth. The group is filled with joy and excitement as they finally discover the treasure they had been chasing. October 2nd, 2025. This episode starts with Tejas digging up the village soil in search of treasure. Excitement buzzes when a bucket surfaces. Tejas demands the lion's share, but Sachin insists on dividing it equally among the villagers. Just as they're about to open the bucket, Savitri arrives and freezes in shock. She claims it's not treasure, but the cursed shadow of a witch she buried long ago. Savitri recalls her early days in the house, newly married and tormented by her arrogant mother-in-law. Her daily humiliation included following her spitting mother-in-law around with a bucket. Laughed at by villagers, Savitri eventually buried the bucket to bury her shame. Though she once feared the memory resurfacing, today she stands strong, independent and unshaken. Sachin and Sayali feel a quiet respect for her, while Tejas fumes, having been misled by the tale. Back in Mumbai, Sayali is still unwell but resumes her business. After her deliveries, she tries to rest. Renuka, unsympathetic, orders her to cook instead. Sayali explains her condition, but Renuka mocks her, assuming she's making excuses. Later, Sachin returns from work to find Sayali struggling in the kitchen. He's furious and insists on taking her to a doctor. He brings her to Tejas and Roshni's room to rest. When they discover Sayali there, they complain to Renuka, annoyed she's using their room. Renuka, dismissing Sayali's fever, demands she leave immediately. Sachin walks in and loses his temper on his mother. Despite Sayali's genuine need to rest, Tejas and Roshni accuse her of invading their space. Sachin is ashamed that his mother lacks compassion. Even Paresh scolds Renuka for her behavior. Sachin tells Sayali to stop being overly generous. She doesn't owe chores to everyone. A clash erupts between Tejas and Sachin, with Tejas boasting about his business struggles, failing to understand anyone else's. Riya and Akash back Sayali, though Riya admits she'd avoid such drama by staying at her mother's during tough times. Sachin decides not to bother about others anymore. He takes care of Sayali. October 3rd, 2025. This episode starts with Sachin and Tejas once again bickering over the same old issue. Who gets to sleep on the bed? Tejas is reluctantly asked to sleep on the floor, while Sachin comfortably settles in with their father, Paresh. In the mood for nostalgia, Sachin requests Paresh to tell them a bedtime story like he used to during their childhood. Tejas, on the other hand, is in no mood for stories as he has to be up early for work at the showroom. Paresh decides not to tell any stories, not wanting to disturb either of them. But Sachin has other plans. He refuses to let Tejas fall asleep so easily. He launches into a loud, humorous, and slightly sarcastic tale that pokes fun at Tejas's life. Tejas grows increasingly irritated and can't catch a wink of sleep thanks to Sachin's antics. Meanwhile, in another part of the house, Sayali, Roshni, and Renuka decide to share a room for the night. Sayali, unwell and tired, lies down on the bed. Roshni and Renuka start grumbling about Sayali not arranging bedding for them. Renuka's harsh words bring tears to Sayali's eyes, and she quietly gives up her spot, letting them have the bed. Eventually, Roshni and Renuka sleep comfortably, while Sayali takes the floor despite her condition. In the middle of the night, Roshni is woken up by Renuka's loud snoring. Unable to deal with it, and not wanting to cause a scene, she quietly takes a pillow and blanket and moves to the dining hall to sleep. Tejas, also exhausted from the chaos in his room, ends up there too. Morning arrives, and Renuka resumes her criticism of Sayali, mocking her for being unwell. Despite her fever and fatigue, Sayali is expected to take on all the household chores. This time, Sayali stands her ground and firmly states she won't be cooking for anyone. She points out how no one offered her a helping hand, or even a kind word when she needed it the most. Paresh steps in, upset with Renuka for being so inconsiderate. He checks Sayali's forehead and realizes she does have a fever. Still, Renuka dismisses it as an act to escape work. When Renuka finds out that both Tejas and Roshni slept in the dining hall, she's clearly surprised. Tejas becomes annoyed upon learning that breakfast hasn't been made yet. But Sachin and Paresh both take Sayali's side and insist she should rest. Paresh then asks Roshni and Riya to help in the kitchen. Riya and Akash volunteer without complaint. Roshni and Tejas, however, are hesitant, claiming they can't afford to leave their important work behind. Sachin doesn't let the moment pass and takes a cheeky dig at the two of them for always dodging kitchen duties. October 4th, 2025. The episode starts with Sayali feeling insecure after being insulted by her mother-in-law. Sachin comforts her by assuring that he will always love her, even if the other family members do not show her any care. He advises her to take rest until she feels better. Worried about her health, Sachin checks her temperature and calls a doctor, requesting him to visit. After some time, the doctor arrives and prescribes medicines for Sayali. Renuka loses her voice due to a throat infection. Paresh prepares an Ayurvedic remedy to help her recover. Sachin jokes lightly about Renuka's silence, feeling a rare sense of peace in the house as he can now hear the birds chirping. Renuka gets angry at his teasing, but is unable to respond. Paresh and Sachin share a few light-hearted moments, finding some humor in Renuka's unusual situation. At Tejas's showroom, a customer visits to buy a microwave but falls asleep on a sofa. Tejas wakes him up and asks him to leave, realizing the man had only come to rest. Roshni, not eager to return home due to the tense atmosphere and lack of food, brings some delicious meals to the showroom. She and Tejas have their dinner there and decide to spend more time outside before heading back. Sachin prepares khichdi for dinner at home, but Renuka refuses to eat it, calling it filthy. She hopes Tejas will bring her something better. Even though Paresh and Sachin request her to eat, she chooses to wait for Tejas. Tejas and Roshni eventually return home without any food for Renuka, which leaves her deeply disappointed. She then hopes Riya will bring something, but once again she is let down when Riya arrives empty-handed. Sachin highlights Sayali's caring nature, reminding everyone how she always looks after Renuka despite the insults she receives. At last, Renuka agrees to eat the khichdi after Paresh's insistence. The next day, Roshni receives a call from her mother while working with Tejas at the showroom. She hesitates to answer it in front of him and gives a few excuses. Renuka remains suspicious of Sayali and Sachin, believing Sayali is pretending to be ill to avoid housework. She does not wait for Sachin and Sayali to return and asks her other two sons to have dinner. Later, Roshni finds a moment to call her mother back. Just as she dials the number, a phone rings from the dining table. Stepping outside, Roshni sees that her mother has already arrived and Sachin is holding Krish in his arms. Sachin informs her that Krish met with an accident and injured his eye. October 5th, 2025. The episode starts with Roshni learning about Krish's accident. She struggles with the pain of not being able to reveal that Krish is her own child. Her heart shatters further when she hears about Krish's critical condition. Sachin informs the family that Krish needs surgery within 2 days and suggests it would be better if he stayed at their house until then. Everyone agrees, except for Renuka, who feels burdened by the new responsibility. She clearly tells Roshni's mother to find another place, reminding everyone that the house is already cramped. Still, after seeing Krish's innocent face, the family cannot turn him away. Roshni offers to vacate her room for Krish and his grandmother, leaving everyone, especially Renuka, stunned by her generosity. Roshni hides her true emotions and pretends she is simply showing kindness to an innocent child. Roshni's mother and Krish settle into Roshni's room. Unable to hold back her emotions, Roshni's mother sheds silent tears while touching her grandson. Supriya had been hesitant to bring Krish to the house, but Sachin had convinced her. Roshni too insists that they stay. Later, when Roshni goes to the kitchen to fetch milk for Krish, she overhears Sachin and Sayali discussing Supriya's irresponsible son, criticizing him for not even answering his mother's calls. Both Sachin and Sayali express their disappointment over Krish's parents' neglect. Roshni feels deeply hurt hearing their words and tries to explain things from the parents' side. Her sudden defense of Krish surprises both Sachin and Sayali, who notice a sudden change in her behavior. In the middle of the night, Roshni dreams of Krish reaching out for her love. She wakes up with a heavy heart, overwhelmed by the ache of staying away from her own child. Watching Sayali care for Krish from a distance, Roshni holds back her tears. Her heart breaks completely when she sees Krish searching for his mother, even in his sleep. Though his real mother is close by, he remains unaware, longing for the love he has been denied. The next day, Roshni calls her friend Shikha to confide in her. But Shikha, fearful of the truth coming out, advises Roshni to stay away from Krish, warning that her present life could be destroyed too. Sayali feels a deep sense of motherhood when Krish clutches her hand in his sleep. She shares her feelings with Riya and Sachin, expressing her hope that Sachin would become a wonderful father when they have their own child someday. That's a wrap on this week's Recaps fams. Thanks for always supporting Z Star Africa. Much love.